Okay, guys, welcome to the Burnham Brothers Jiu Jitsu podcast, episode 3, which was cheers, Jeff Glover, the legend that is. Apologies, we had issues getting this podcast done with some issues with Jeff's phone and internet connection, and then with our issues we've had here as well. So probably not our best professional setup, but still a great podcast. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts we've done so far. Jeff's a great guy. So we'll get this intro done and away you go with the podcast. So as I said before, our guest today is Jeff Glover, 2007 IBJJF No-Gi World Champ, second place 2014 EBI Invitational, third place 2011 ADC World Championships, 2012 World Jiu-Jitsu Superfight winner, 2005 and 6 Brown Belt Pan Pacific Champion. Jeff is a legend of Jiu-Jitsu, super cool guy. This podcast is brought to you by the Cartel brand, Los Angeles and Australia, and Rascal. So without further ado, let's take you to the podcast that we've recorded, pre-recorded, and I hope you enjoyed. Let us know. Cheers, guys. Awesome. Your style. You describe your style as being like a monkey. And how did that, like, who influenced that with you? How did you come up with that style?
Yeah, my style came because most people who have like style copied a few people and put it together into their own thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely no exception. I had the influence of Frangia, first of all, who was very encouraging. Even though he was tough, like he would smack us around, and the years that he was training me really hard, he was pretty tough with us. But you know, besides that, he was pretty encouraging about you developing like your own kind of game, and not like, you know, if you were like showing him some move, like, hey, what about this move that I kind of like to do? He wouldn't be like, no, that's not what I do. You only do the shit I teach you. You know, he'd be like, okay, nah, you seem to like that one. Okay, let's work on that. Let me try. Okay, like this. No, I think maybe if you did a little more like this, it'll work. So Frangia, you know, Frangia always encouraged me to kind of do my own thing. And he would always tell me, like, okay, Jeff, there's like 3 dudes you need to copy, like Leo Vieira. You know what I'm saying? Leo Vieira was the big one. He was like, copy that dude, just watch him. And I managed to get my hands on some Leo Vieira footage from Mark Lehman. You guys ever heard of Mark Lehman?
Yes.
Yeah, Mark Lehman. I worked with Mark Lehman, man, for a long time. I did like a year and a half, 2 years there in Vegas, and he would put me in different places. Like he would let me. He had this one place we called the Trap House, and I lived there for like, I don't know. I lived there for a long time, and like different fighters would come in and like train with Mark, and that house had a few rooms. So I always had my room, and different people would be living in there. Like Mayhem Miller lived in there with me for 3 months, and that was 3 of the craziest months I've ever had in my life. like I call people son now. Like I can't like it's part of my my vocabulary is when I get really comfortable with people and I become friends, I start calling them son. And I got that from Mayhem Miller because he would go around calling everybody son.
Okay.
You know, like so with Layman, you know, I was there for like almost 2 years, you know, and man, he like Mark Lehman was putting out DVDs or not DVDs, they were tapes. You could put in like VHS tapes, you know, and like I would rewind it, and then there was like all these big dudes doing these big moves I didn't think I could do, and then it'd be like, oh, Leo Vieira clip, and be like, oh, let me rewind that, and Leo Vieira would like get under the guy's lapels and like front roll, and then like he would land on his feet, and the guys would like jump over and land, and his hooks would go in, and then go right to a bow and arrow choke. I was like, oh, what's this? Or he would like give the guy the single leg, and the guy would take the single leg, and then he would freaking flip and kick the dude over, and then land in knee belly. You know, I was like, oh, I see why Frangia told me to do that, because that guy's little and it looks cool, man. Frangia, not only Frangia, like he likes cool looking jiu-jitsu, you know. And he'll always like give credit to somebody with beautiful jiu-jitsu. You know, I've heard that guy say that a million times. Beautiful jiu-jitsu. Frangie always told me, beautiful jiu-jitsu, Jeffy. Perfect jiu-jitsu looks beautiful.
Yep.
When you do it right, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't look choppy. It's like you're kicking this guy's ass, and it's a thing of beauty, man. It's like, how can violence be so beautiful? You know?
Yeah.
And, that's kind of what Frangie encouraged. So it was like Leo Vieira, you know, and then you leave Leo Vieira, and then you find out about, all right, well then there's this whole team that guy's from, and it's called Alliance, and Alliance has this dude named Ted Day, and then you find out about Ted Day, and you get to see the Ted Day clips here and there, and a little bit here and a little bit there, and it didn't take too many clips of Ted Day to realize, you see a 5-second clip of that dude in a jiu-jitsu match, and you're like, whoa, that was greatness.
Yep.
Even an untrained eye, dog, even somebody new to jiu-jitsu sees that dude and sees, like, you know, somebody else, and like, okay, well, that guy's clearly better.
Yeah.
You know, and he just had something, man. He just had this, like, this enjoyment that he enjoyed it in a way that everybody else didn't.
Yep.
Everyone else was out there fighting and, like, worried, and he was out there, like, enjoying that shit. And I just wanted to be like that so bad. And then, you know, another person that was really influential was my jiu-jitsu big brother, was Tyrone Glover.
Yep.
Because Tyrone was a submission specialist, and Tyrone was one of the first guys to kind of, like, you know, start looking down towards leg locks and becoming pretty efficient and dangerous with them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I wasn't really good at that at first. I was a very, like, upper body type submission hunter, you know, like neck and arms, triangles, rear naked choke, triangle, guillotine, rear naked choke, triangle, guillotine, armbar. And I was like, leg lock, And Tyrone started opening up that door for me. I started to see, you know, like, monkey see, monkey do, you know, I started seeing Big Brother do it. And I was like, all right, and go for it, mess it up 50 times, sucked at it for so long, would get it reversed on me and end up screaming and tapping out because I got footlock, because I started the footlock. I wanted to get crazy with some motherfucker and start a footlock fight. You know what I'm saying? And then he reversed that shit on me and cracked my foot. And I was like, oh, man, but I had to go through, like, so many days like that, those days of frustration and learning to become, you know, as efficient at the leg locks as I am. And I see a lot of people, you hear about a lot of people, I can tell a lot of people have not had that part of their jiu-jitsu journey happen yet.
Yep.
That you know, that look downward towards the legs. And, you know, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of something you want to do early, man. You want to get those leg lock injuries are going to happen. You want to have them, like, kind of early. You know, you don't want to be, like, too old and have a freaking toe hold get shattered.
Yep.
You know, have somebody shatter your knee with a heel hook. Like, it starts to become something like, all right, the older you get, the less you really want to mess with the leg locks, man, because the leg, you know, like the leg locks crack a lot easier than, like, a Kimura Americana or an armbar.
Yeah.
Albeit they're definitely more dangerous. And I'm talking about my students that are, like, you know, the dude's a lawyer, the dude freaking works at the college over here, he's a janitor, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to get his freaking legs shattered, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really like, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's like, that's why people will, like gyms won't want their students doing leg locks, man. It's because the older dudes that are paying the bills break their leg, then they can't come pay the bill, you know? So it's this balancing act.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tyrone, because he taught me how to do leg locks. Leo Vieira, you know, because he taught me, like, the technicality of jiu-jitsu and how beautiful that can be. And then Ted Day, who taught me how to, like, make it look like you really enjoy being there more than anybody, and you have no fear, dude, and you want to, like, you just can't wait to choke people.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's definitely a big, that's a lot of who I am right there. Yeah. That's a good question.
That's awesome. Yeah. Super cool.
What about your world famous donkey guard? How did that come about? What just how did it come about, I suppose? Yeah, how'd you come up with that?
Well, the actual move itself is kind of a combination of a few things, you know. You know, like the flying leg scissors.
Yep.
Right. You know, you see people jump into, like, the 411. They throw an Uchimata and then front roll from the Uchimata into the 411 position.
Yep.
It's similar to that. There's a little taste of that. There's a little sprinkle of that. You know what I'm saying? There's a little sprinkle of like inverted guard. You know, just the concept of inverted guard. I remember as a purple belt how significant and cool that was. I was like, what, dude, you go upside down? It's like, I thought if you go upside down, you get smashed. And then you see somebody who's like, nah, dog, you throw your leg up and then you pull them into a triangle and it's fucking dope. And like, what? Jiu-jitsu is so much cooler right now. You can go upside down and it's kind of a little bit of that, like that initial, like, well, things that are backwards and upside down aren't always bad. You know what I'm saying? So when I first started jiu-jitsu, it was like square. Everything, you know, be on top. Everything's got to be square in front of you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let people get behind you. learn that, don't extend your arms, all these basic rules you're not supposed to break. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit of that. And just, just a little bit of my own kind of trying to mess around and experiment in a way that isn't going to hurt people.
Yeah.
Donkey guard's actually kind of safe the way I do it compared to a lot of flying leg attacks that I see.
Oh, for sure. And it's always entertaining to see it. I just wonder why we get bored one day, needed a challenge to basically try and offer you back up to.
To be honest with you, I do have to give a little bit of credit to Bill Cooper too, because Bill Cooper and I would do that in training all the time.
Yep.
And I might have actually gotten that from Bill Cooper and just forgot about it. I've done so much damn jiu-jitsu with that kid. I don't even remember. We've been doing jiu-jitsu for, freaking 20 years with each other now. So
Yeah.
That might be something I've gotten from him, to be honest with you, because I have taken a lot of the stuff that I like, a lot of the little tricks that I've learned and things I learned with or from Bill.
Yep.
Which is cool.
That is good.
I think going back what you're saying about inverting and stuff like that, for me, I would always see inverting, like, 'cause obviously, like, my generation, it's such a common thing to do, but I didn't know how to do it myself. And same thing, like around purple belt, I started to learn it. I learned it when Taliesin Suarez, he came to Australia. I did a seminar with him, and just kind of learning the basic concepts. I was like, wow, I can actually like go upside down and it works. Like, it's pretty. I feel like I got obsessed with it for a time, and then I just wanted to do it all the time because it was something so different. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go through that same thing. I think that's why that rang your bell. You're like, ooh, I went through that. I said that because I know you did.
Yeah.
I know you did. A lot of people have. You know what I'm saying? Dude, it's such a tasty morsel, man. It's like, what? You can just let people pass your guard and just throw your legs up.
Yeah.
It's so fun. If you don't, if you're into jiu-jitsu and you don't find that cool, you're crazy. It's why I knew you would like that. And it's like, I definitely like have hurt my neck doing that before.
Yeah.
I've definitely like failed and lost matches trusting that a little too much and actually getting my guard passed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Done that and like got myself leg locked. It's not like this end all be all guard, of course. None of them are.
Yeah.
I was actually just listening to Eddie Bravo say that. He was making a good point to people who are player hating on rubber guard, because like rubber guard's not for everybody. That's true, man. But for the people that it's for, man, it works pretty freaking good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not every guard is for everybody, dude. And he's got a point. He's got a really good point about that. Like I've never been good at like rubber guard or like lockdown guard personally, but I'm super good at inverted guard, man. Once I picked that up pretty quick. I learned it one summer as a purple belt, and then the next summer as a brown belt. I was so sharp with that.
Yeah.
It had become a new addition to my like regular half guard, deep half guard, butterfly guard, closed guard attack.
Yeah.
Which was so good already. And then I added inverted, and it was like, boom, shit. And then the next element was to add the wrestling, dog. Once I added the wrestling next, that's when I became black belt.
Yeah.
Once I added going on to single legs and not being afraid of getting into front headlocks, and not just falling back every time to my guard and hoping he's going to fall into a triangle.
Yeah.
Once I started mastering that combination right there, that's when I became pretty freaking hard to beat, dude.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Like from watching someone like yourself who's got that all-round game, you see some guys focus so much on one part, like they pull guard, and that's what they do. They pull guard. There is no wrestling. You just think, man, you're letting yourself. To me, it looks like they're letting themselves down by not having that rounded game.
Yeah, and there's value. Those guys have value too. We all have our own little thing, I would absolutely like to be known as somebody that was good at a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And I definitely have my like, my specialities, like the few things I'm known for, but I think you could say I'm pretty good, an all around good grappler.
Yeah.
But the point I want to make is like the guys who specialize, like the Amberyse, like God bless Amberyse, man. Thank God there's that dude over there in Japan that just focuses on cracking dudes' legs. You know what I'm saying? Like he's known for that. People are like, oh, if Amberyse does an armbar, they're like, what? It's like we're all expecting him to always do a leg lock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's such a cool like element to our game, to our jiu-jitsu world, the dudes like that. So it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that,
Yeah.
Everybody has their value. You know, it's a beautiful community, man.
When you fought Imanari, was that probably your best donkey guard setup that you did in a fight? Because that was pretty smooth.
You know, which match are you talking about? When I fought Imanari, that was you saw that match?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was one I watched the other day, where he came at you in your donkey guard and rolled straight into looked like a single X.
Do you mean Barrett Yoshida?
Oh, sorry. Yes, it was Barrett Yoshida. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Because the reason I say that is very few people have seen that Imanari match, and actually I wasn't proud of that match. I looking back on it, it's one of the biggest regrets in my career. My performance. Yeah, the match was a draw.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I was in. It was I feel sick just talking about it, but I was invited to Japan. These guys invited me to Japan. You know what I'm saying? They flew me out, put me in a nice hotel. They wanted me to come and try to tap their champion out.
Yep.
But I was so freaking nervous. You know what I'm saying? I was so scared of, like, I saw his highlight reel and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's gonna rip my fucking leg off. I was like 19 or 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? I was like a brown belt still. Yep. You know, this dude was like a black belt. I had all these like mental like barriers that like ultimately caused me to go out and have, I think, a pretty weak performance, man. Where I was just trying to, like, you know, I learned later the lesson is, like, you have to beat the champ. He was the champ, dog. I came to his home. They brought me into his home, and I came and just defended everything he did, and did like an attack here, one little sweep, you know. But it wasn't much. It was a submission only match, and they were gonna have their little referee like decide who won. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I did like a little sweep, and as soon as I swept him, I like was afraid to hold him down because I thought he was gonna leg lock me, so I like let him back up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was afraid to get into a scramble. Yeah. I've never really like hardly ever in my career was I afraid to get into scrambles with anybody. Like, I would always encourage the scramble, and it was one of the few times I can honestly say I was afraid to scramble with somebody. And I think I put on a weak performance, and these people were all like excited to see me, you know, and like I came out and fought like that.
That's a pretty big deal, though. Like, understandably, you were nervous. Like, you're Brown, he's a legend.
Yeah, it was a beta male performance. It was a beta male performance on my part.
Yep. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not proud of it. But at the same time, I'm not sure I want to rematch with that dude. Let's just keep it at a draw. We're cool with that. I'm happy about happy about not losing, and I'm happy about not getting my leg broken. Imanari, we're cool, brother. Watch it.
Going back to like you competing, you were quite an entertaining competitor. Would you, or like more entertaining than what most people are? Would you consider yourself like an original kind of jiu-jitsu entertainer?
Yeah, I think I'm known for that. You know, I think it's safe to say that. It's obviously, I want to give credit to, like, you know, the people that I was trying to emulate. I think I was like, you know, America wasn't used to seeing somebody like I moved like a Brazilian, you know what I'm saying? Like, I moved like Tereré, you know, people weren't used to seeing that. Like, most kids in America were like little wrestling kids. Yeah. And I had absolutely zero wrestling. I was 100% Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, dude, and I was like better than the Brazilians. Like, I was doing it like at a level that was like really weird and just kind of like awkwardly better than everybody in a weird way too, like doing moves that were just outrageous, you know. Yeah. And it was like, people hadn't seen that unless it was like some dope ass Brazilian. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely other examples. Like, there was Lovato was doing amazing jiu-jitsu, you know what I'm saying? Mike Fowler was doing some of the most beautiful jiu-jitsu I've ever seen. There was a handful of us, you know, and it was cool because there was only, you know, it was a Brazilian dominated sport, you know. But yeah, I'm happy that my little legacy will go down as somebody who was like entertaining, you know. Yeah. I'm happy to make jiu-jitsu look fun, and some kid wants to start jiu-jitsu and he looks up highlights, comes across mine, and then the next day he's in the gym all stoked trying to copy my moves and telling his friends about me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm very happy about that. I get a lot of joy when I think about that. So
for sure.
I think definitely like, even before I knew you, I remember seeing your highlights. I was even telling Dad, back when I was probably 12, 13, some of the guys at my gym, they saw your armbar where you jumped up on a big, you're in an open class division. You jumped up on the guy, came around to his back, then armbarred him.
Listen, kid. First of all, stop talking about it like it was that long ago. It was like 2 years ago.
For me, though, it was at the start of my jiu-jitsu journey.
Back in the 90s, you guys were pagers, like beepers.
Back in the old days, Dad.
I got a beep from one of my friends. It was like, "Yo, Jeff Glover, YouTube." So,
Yeah, it was on. Watched it on VCR.
That armbar. That the story behind that jumping armbar. It was Heat on Gracie actually.
Uh-huh.
And what happened is they were hosting a tournament, and they had a match with the pretty serious injury. Somebody had been slammed and dropped on their head and gone into like a what do you call it, seizure.
Yep.
They were convulsing and freaking foaming at the mouth. It was bad, dude. It was bad. And this was like a kids tournament. It was like kids, like all around. Dude, it was bad.
Yeah.
And took a while for the ambulance to get there, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We were trying to like, okay, hey everybody, look over here. We're gonna have another little thing going on. And Heat on Gracie comes over to me and asked me if I knew how to do that move.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I know how to do that. He's like, the one where you step on the leg and jump over. I was like, yeah, it's good. We didn't even talk. We didn't even do it like rehearse it once. That was like a first try. That was a first try. But my coach had showed me this. Friend, you had shown me all these cool moves. You know, I was prepared, dude.
Yeah.
You know, so we did it, and it was not as like, there wasn't as many people watching. So many people were still like tripping out on the dude, like almost dying over in the other side of the room. But,
yeah.
That's the story behind that. And I always tell people it was real. When people are like, dude, was that real? I'm like, you better believe that's real, homeboy. I'm like, I'll be jumping on people, man. Don't forget this. Seminar is $200 a person, player.
But no, yeah, my point wasn't that you're really old. More so
back to the point, yeah.
I'm sure many people watched your highlights and were drilling it because you were such an exciting competitor, and I'm sure a lot of people wanted to replicate that. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, even myself, I was watching.
Yep.
I was watching some of your matches the other day, and I can't remember who it was against, but he was up, and I think it was like a some type of super fight. There was a big crowd. The chants were going on, and you won within the last minute. You got
was it the Wilson when I fought Wilson Hayes? I mean, Wilson Hayes.
You ended up getting a sweep straight to mount. I'm pretty sure. And yeah.
Oh, the one with Kyle Tiro?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was so like with the crowd and everything. It was awesome to watch. It was exciting. It was.
Dude, you know what's crazy about that, Bo? You know what's crazy about what he's talking about?
What?
That match. That's like that's the biggest match I've ever won, hands down. Kyle Tiro is definitely like the best, like on paper jiu-jitsu guy that I've ever, beaten.
Yeah.
You know, and the way that I beat Kyle, the move that I used to get the final little blow on him that got me onto the boom, the little that took me to to the back was a move that I learned from Seth Woodall. And Seth Woodall is a 325-pound giant dude that used to like. I hated Seth, man. I hated Seth in the gym. I hated Seth in the gym. I did, because every time he'd see me, he would just like kick my ass, and it was horrible. It was always a horrible experience. But it was, looking back on it, he was trying to toughen me up, man. I was a little weak ass kid. You know what I'm saying? And he was one of the first guys who told me that, like, Glover, you're not fast enough for a little dude. He was like, you try to be all like this and that. You should be like, And at first I was like, fuck this guy telling me what's that. And then I actually watched some of the wrestlers. He was like, watch wrestlers at your size. Watch a collegiate wrestler at your size and watch how those dudes move. That's what you need to look like.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen that. I was always watching like judo dudes.
Yeah.
Seth was such a big dude. And then anyway, his big ass showed me how to do this gi move that he learned from Jean-Jacques Machado, because Jean-Jacques Machado only had, the one hand. Yes. So Jean-Jacques Machado would do this thing where he would encourage people to grab his pants on the side where he had his hand grip. And then when people would grab the pants, he would grab their sleeve. You would grab their pants, and then he would grab the sleeve on that hand. And then you would come around, try to pass his guard, and then he would let go of the sleeve and hit an arm drag. Boom, take it back. And that's what I did to Kyle. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that from Seth. And I have always, remember I was telling you earlier, friend G, was like, yo, study the little guys.
Yep.
Study the little fast dudes. You know what I'm saying? But this move right here that I used to beat the little fast dude, the best little fast dude of all time,
Yeah.
I learned it from a 300-pound dude who happens to be the sheriff in town right now.
Oh, really?
Right? Who called me the other day to tell me that I need to do social distancing or my tournament's gonna get shut down.
Wow.
Can you believe that, man?
No, that's
It's a crazy-ass story.
That's funny as.
One thing Jeff doesn't do though is he doesn't bow down to sponsors. You know, we don't bow down to sponsors here. Okay, we're not about that. We don't do that. Okay?
That's fair enough.
You know, no big deal. We're not about that. Move your hand. You can't see the label, Jeff. Okay, we're not about that here. All right, nothing to see here, guys.
Nothing to see.
I just want to remind you guys, Jocko Go is now available in 3 flavors: Arctic Blue, Raspberry Red, and Sea Breeze Purple flavor. Be sure to pick them up at your local
Whatever store.
Supplement store. Sorry, go ahead.
Sure.
What were you guys saying?
Let Jocko know we're looking for a sponsorship partner for our podcast, so we're happy to get him on.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any other sponsors you want to just keep going? We got like 5 minutes.
I want to thank Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch for sponsoring me. All these video games that keep my mind off coronavirus.
Yeah, good work.
That's about it, though.
Over the years, I suppose, a lot of people used to give you a bit of flack for your sort of, not your style, but probably your personality. Like it looked like you were messing around sometimes in fights and stuff. And did you used to cop a bit of flack for that? For not being 100% serious all the time?
Yeah, that was later in my career. Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, I think my style kind of had like a personality at some point. I was doing so much jiu-jitsu. I did in tournaments for so long that it was like, yeah, you know, you kind of grow as a person, and I guess your style can grow too. And like the things that you think are cool, like, you know, like for me, like winning with the same thing over and over again isn't like in the jiu-jitsu spirit for me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was always trying to like do like what's next? How do I keep adding on to my game rather than like winning with things that I was already really good at?
Mm.
You know, I think that kind of spirit, I took that energy and took it pretty far. And I think I took it to a level that might have like offended like old school traditionalist type martial artsy jiu-jitsu guys that like, you know, want me to like respect, you know, like Elio Gracie and my master and all that stuff. And I'm down with that. Don't get me wrong. God bless Elio, rest in peace, the Grandmaster. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, I can see how like, you know, the donkey guard and me doing the tournament where we were smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? I can see how some of the people who like look at the martial arts as this like, you know, this like respect thing, like, you know, be a better person. I can see how they would definitely be offended. Yeah, Bo wants to say something.
By the time, how you guys doing? By the time Jeff started playing around like that, I think he'd already been fighting like 10 years.
Yep.
He started, how old were you when you started competing?
Like 17.
So he was 17, 10 years of competition, like dead serious competition. I just think what happened in his mind is he was just like, I'm going to have fun with this.
Yeah.
You know, he just changed gears in his head as he progressed to kind of retire. Made it fun, had a good time with everybody instead of like, because you can only be a killer for so long. You only have so many matches in you.
For sure.
Yep.
I think he just started to enjoy himself finally.
Yeah, because I had some pretty intense matches in the like, you know, in the early like black and like late brown belt years.
Yep.
And a lot of like a lot of those no-gi matches I was doing at the time, you know, were some pretty hard battles, man. And you know, I definitely have like, you know, some injuries that I've been dealing with.
Yep.
That are a big part of like why I behave the way I do.
Yep.
So it's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
But one thing I noticed with you, even though in those later years, you had a bit of fun and stuff, but you always had respect for your opponents and for, even like when you just explained it then, you still had respect for, and you could understand the old school guys, the way they thought and stuff like that. That's a great level of respect. How do you feel like jiu-jitsu is these days with the likes of Gordon Ryan and that, who just pay out on anyone? they don't care. They don't seem to have that respect. Is it heading in a good space or not so much?
That's a tough question. I'm glad to hear that you think I'm respectful. A lot of people think I'm disrespectful, and I've definitely, talked a lot of shit to a lot of people online and gotten into fights where we start insulting and being mean to each other and just trying to dig the dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm always on that, like, dude, if you talk shit to me, I'll talk shit to you. I don't give a fuck if you think I'm like some like leader that I shouldn't like say things like that. I will always throw jabs back at people. You know what I'm saying? I'll always say something back.
Yep.
And some people are like, oh, you're a role model, man. You shouldn't say shit like that. But I'm like, dude, I'm a human being though too, man. Like, you offend me, like I can't help it. I have feelings and emotions too,
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, and I'll always apologize, whenever somebody's like super offended and it's to a point where like, they want to like fight or something like that. I'll always say sorry. But, I think the new generation, they kind of don't care about that. They don't feel bad. Like, I'll get in a fight with somebody online and feel bad about it later. I think the new generation, they don't feel bad, man.
They don't seem to care.
Like the next day, it's like, let's do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, the teacher I had for NGA was a very like respectful dude and had a lot of respect. And, he was hugging all his old homies. It was just a lot of love and a lot of respect. Yeah. I think he passed that down to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just depends how people treat me too, man. Like my friends, the people that I'm friends with, that I like people like Rafael Lovato comes to mind. Like the amount of respect I have for that dude, you'll never hear a bad word come out of my mouth about that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of dude that everyone should try to be like. You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud to say I'm like friends with that dude. I'm a pretty good friend with him, and I've been on a lot of road trips with that dude, and been to a lot of like international tournaments with that dude, and been like mat side with him for like super fights like several times. And like he's the kind of guy I think we should all try to be like. I'm definitely a little mouthy and edgy. But because of Frangia's influence, there's always this part of me that wants to apologize and try to like be non-confrontational.
Yeah.
Continuing on from that, with like the way jiu-jitsu is heading, the direction it's heading in, is there anything that you would like change about jiu-jitsu like right now? Like, is there anything that you don't like about jiu-jitsu or the way it's heading? Like, any thoughts on like something you would change about it?
I just wish it'll come back, man. I wish it could come back and we can all do jiu-jitsu and start arguing about who sucks at heel hooks and who sucks at the gi.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone's fighting about coronavirus right now, and I'm pretty sick of it. I wish we could just get back to our jiu-jitsu. I don't want to change anything about jiu-jitsu. It's a beautiful community, man. We have some interesting characters. We have some jerks. We have some uplifting people. We have some of the most talented people that have ever walked this planet, if it's a planet. I'm a flat earther. I don't know if I believe that, but some of the most talented people that have ever existed are alive today in our jiu-jitsu community, man. And it's cool because you can have access to them. You can go on their Instagram page and like say something, they'll like respond to you, you know. So I don't know, man. If I would change anything, I guess it would be just, I don't know. Nothing really significant comes to mind.
It is true. Like the jiu-jitsu community that we've found, like they're fantastic. This podcast stuff's only new for us. You're our third one, but we haven't had anyone say no. Not doing that. And these guys like yourself, you're legends of the sport. We hadn't met you. Yeah, we were lucky because Sed knows you. But we've done one with Robert Drysdale and Clark Racy as well. And everyone's just given up their time, and it's for the betterment of, for us, not so much them and the sport, but it's just a great art, I think. No one really shuts themselves off. No one really thinks I'm better than you, so I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah, I think a lot of us see that we're in a privileged place in that we're teachers, and that's a cool job to have, man. And it's a happy job to have, bro. I'm a very happy person, and I'm happy to share my life and talking about it and talk about jiu-jitsu with people because it's fun for me. If it was work, I wouldn't do it, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
sure.
During your career, you tackled the absolute division a lot. which was always different because the small guys very rarely do. Why do that? Risk injury, all
I
that
don't know.
sort of stuff.
I was always really good at wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu with bigger guys. I always did really, really well against guys larger than me.
Yep.
You know, in the gym, you know, I don't know what it was. I have a style that just worked well against bigger guys. I don't know. You tell me, what was it? Why was I able to always get well on my foot? I don't know. It's hard to say. I wasn't strong. I don't have like big giant arms, like super strong legs. I don't have a six pack. I've never had abs. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a skinny ass neck. You know, I mean, I can't say that it's anything besides the only thing that comes to mind that I can say why I did is I had superior technique.
Yep. No, and that's good. That's what I was just interested to see why, because not many people do it, and I reckon it's great that you gave it a crack.
Also, I was drinking Jocko protein shakes on the daily.
Very good.
Do you like to see Mikey Misamichi's been entering a lot of absolute divisions? Do you think that's pretty cool? Like, 'cause not a lot of people do it. I feel like you and like him, it's not very common.
Yeah, it would be cool. I was thinking it would be cool if Mikey, started being like the little guy that would win gi absolutes. I think you see more success for the little guys and I could be wrong, but I've seen more success little guys in the no gi.
Yep.
I feel like it's harder for a little guy to win a gi match at the higher against a bigger guy than it is for a little guy to win a no gi match against a bigger guy.
Yes.
And how cool would it be if Mikey was the little guy to do that?
Yeah,
for
awesome.
sure.
I think it's hard.
He has a cool style, man.
It's hard in gi, like when the person grabs the lapel. Like if a bigger guy grabs a smaller guy, it's impossible to break that grip sometimes. Whereas no gi, you don't have that problem.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. That's right.
Yes, dude, you don't have that problem.
No, I definitely did better against bigger dudes no gi personally. I always thought it was harder to fight dudes with the gi than it was no gi.
Yeah.
I think gi's harder, dude. Honestly, I think gi's harder. You're not allowed to it's harder in that there's like kind of like more rules. Like when you're not allowed to leg reap, you know what I'm saying? We're already like not allowed to punch each other in the face. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, I gotta remember that. Okay, what else am I not supposed to do? Don't spit on the dude. Okay, all right. Okay. And now don't leg reap. Okay, like not only that, I just think the gi was harder and no gi was a little more like rewarding and fun for me and just I could kind of like move more and guys couldn't hold me down as much.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see my style and my style kind of like became a little more, my vocabulary became a lot thicker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My combinations and connections became so crisp when I started like wrestling instead of judoing, if that's a way of putting it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now we had a fan shoot us a question that they wanted us to ask you when we said we were doing a podcast with yourself, and it was, do you smoke weed a lot before rolling? And if you do you find it makes a difference to your rolling?
Not really.
No.
I don't know that it might even hurt my rolling.
Yep.
I don't know. I've never done some like experiment, I
not smoked.
Yeah, I've done it so much, it's like it's something I do, before and after everything.
Yep.
So I'm not one to be like, oh yeah, weed, smoke weed, it's gonna like enhance your flow state and it's gonna help you like connect your jiu-jitsu and then you really like that's, I'm the last person to tell you that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'll even tell you weed has probably like held me back in many ways.
Yeah.
I'm learning, about like coping with trauma and stuff like that in my like private personal life and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning that weed might be this like, crutch that I've always used to deal with things and that doesn't sound good, So while I do think weed is something that's, I don't think it's like a bad thing, but I don't know, who knows, it could be horrible too.
Yeah. Yep.
Fair
Not cool.
Fair enough outlook.
Now, what's the go with this flat Earth stuff?
Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's an endless plane. So you got to think that the Earth just goes forever.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? There's no like ice wall, and if there is an ice wall like that, even just keeps going forever. But the idea is that there's no like hang off. It doesn't like end. The same way that you think like space can go on forever and ever and ever. I remember when I was like 8 years old and like fighting with my mom about this.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Mom, there's an end. There's an end to everything. And she's like, no, space goes on forever. And I was like, no, how do you know, Mom? You don't know. You're a nurse. You're a nurse. You don't know. And we're arguing with her and just having to like be like, she was like, no, it's been proven scientifically, space goes on forever, And I was like, fine, I just have to take that one. All right, I get it.
Yep.
And it was hard to grasp, you know. I feel like it's the same thing to try to tell somebody like, yo, the earth goes on forever, dog.
Yeah.
Like there is no end. It's the endless plane of existence. There is no round, doesn't bend over. It just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. And there's no end to it. You know, and it's very unscientific. It's very like it doesn't have, you know, like scientists proving stuff like this. There's not like scientists going out to like prove the endless plane theory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But for me, what's significant is that all this stuff that I see from NASA and like SpaceX and all this stuff is like clearly CGI. It's clearly cartoons. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff they've been showing us for years is clearly cartoons. Like here's one that I want to see, dog. Okay. I have this, let's just say this is Earth. I know it's all square and shit, but let's just say this is Earth, right?
Yep.
And I'm here in Los Angeles and I'm walking around like this, and you guys are down here in Australia walking around like this, right? Like da-da-da. One of us, in the perspective of how the camera's looking at us, is upside down right now.
Yep.
Sure, if the camera was turning around like this, the perspective would be like, oh, this guy's walking upside down now. Da-da-da. I want to see NASA take one of their cameras that can turn the fuck around and zoom out to a goddamn nebula and show me gases forming into freaking stars. And you're like, what is that? That's a purple gas. What is that? That's a green one and there's a purple one. And they're like, oh, it's trying to, they never give an answer about what that shit is. Those are gases. They're forming into space nebula stars, all this shit. I want to see them take that camera, turn it around onto Earth, zoom in on Jeff Glover walking around in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Zoom into me walking into 10th Planet.
Yep.
Boom, in LA, and then zoom out, and then zoom back in to you guys walking around upside down in Australia.
Now, I'd like to see that too now.
Yeah.
That would be spectacular, right?
Yes.
That would be the most amazing thing you'd ever seen. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to see that. So the fact that they haven't done that, the fact that I think the moon landings are fake as shit, and it's clearly fake as shit, and they won't do it now, and it's so improbable that it happened, and just all the stuff behind it, and all the little knick-knack, tic-tac, conspiracy theory facts here and there. It's just so fishy, everything about it. You know what I'm saying? And all my red flags and radar detectors bullshit that I've learned from martial arts are going off on that story, man.
Nice.
The moon landing,
what I'm
that
saying?
is something that's always worried me. Like, if they could do it that long ago, why haven't they done it since?
Oh yeah. So I'm definitely a big doubter of space agencies.
Uh-huh.
And just because it's like I used to be such a big supporter. I was such a supporter. I remember I've fought I've been like an atheist my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I've always been like, oh, you religious kooks, you freaking Christians, you guys are stupid, man. Clearly there's no God, bro. We evolved from monkeys, bro. All right, that crushes your story, guys, with evidence, and just being that dude.
Yep.
And I was that dude for so long, and it's like, I was like, okay, man, I always hear people talk about question your own worldview. I was like, let me question my own worldview. Where is that going to take me? And naturally it takes you into like creationism and you know, Christianity and like Islam and Judaism and the religions of the world that I had never really like thought to even give a bit of my energy to, because they were just such bullshit to me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, dude, going down that rabbit hole, bada bing, bada boom. Next thing I know, I'm watching flat Earth videos, going like, holy shit, I've been wrong about my whole world. Give me the weed back. Give me back the weed. Flat Earth, man, far out.
Oh, that's good.
No, I don't want to watch that Eddie Bravo video. Put the flat Earth video back on. I watched all of Eddie Bravo's video. Watch flat Earth for one fucking video. Holy shit.
That's good. All right, we're just got to find a few questions. We've got our 4 questions and then one after that. So we'll hit you with them. So, favorite sub?
Triangle choke.
Triangle, good. Do you have a favorite movie?
The Blues Brothers.
Yes.
That's
Love that
favorite.
movie. Gi or no gi?
You don't like it?
To choose. No, I love Blues Brothers.
I was gonna throw some Blues Brothers lines, but we're moving quick here. We're moving quick.
No, you can get
Gi or
some Blues
no
Brothers
gi?
lines if you want.
Let's see. A Blues Brothers line. What's a good one, Bo?
You don't like it?
Oh, you don't like it? He's like, it's got cop shocks, cop brakes, got a catalytic motor, so it runs good on gas. Runs good on regular gas.
That's very good.
I don't like it.
He's like, where's the Bluesmobile, man? He's like, I traded it. You traded it for this? No, I traded it for a microphone. All right. That makes sense.
You've got that perfect.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So you said gi or no gi, right?
Gi or no gi if you had to choose one.
No gi. No gi because I get to wear my 4th degree black belt.
Yeah, good. Sub only or both, like points sub? Or I actually really like that. That
Tender tap?
Yeah, I love that. I was talking to
Yeah,
Cooper about that because Cooper's that quick small guy that you're talking about like before. He's so quick and his guard passing is ridiculous. He could rack up 10 points in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's valuable. I think the no gi gets away from the value of positions, the value of passing guard, the value of a takedown.
Yep.
You know, the value of a sweep, the value of mounting somebody. Like that kind of gets eliminated when you focus only on no gi.
Yep.
And obviously, dude, this argument you can argue both points night and day till the sun comes up, man.
Oh, for sure.
But I definitely think they both deserve a little bit of love. Both styles should be represented in tournaments. And I think my event, the tenor tap rules where you can win by racking up 10 points. I think it has value, and a lot of guys like it, and it's fun. Yeah.
I said to Cooper when I first saw your rule set, I said that is cool. I'd love to do something like that in Australia.
Yeah. Really good rule set.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that
let's talk about it.
than like an EBI overtime, something like that. I'd rather have 10 or tap because then you're getting every opportunity to do what you need to do. There's no stalling.
I will say, I think tenor tap is as cool and fun as it is to compete in. I think it's hard for to be a referee. Anytime a referee has to score points, it's kind of can get like subjective, you know.
Yeah.
And there's always room for somebody to bitch and complain about something. I think the rule set that eliminates the majority of people being able to talk shit about a decision is what fight to win does, where they have 3 judges that are like, pretty respected like dudes in the game, and at the end of the match, if nobody gets tapped, they like raise a flag who they thought won, And
Yeah, I do like
I think that's cool because those dudes value the gi. If you get your guard pass there and you get mounted, like those referees are watching and they see that and they take the mental note and they remember. They're like, oh well, I feel like the mount in the back was more valuable than the like one heel hook that dude went for.
Yeah.
So the guy who just went for the submission didn't necessarily get to win every time,
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's a dude who's just going for submissions and it's dope and he looks so cool and he went for like 5 submissions but like got swept, you know what I'm saying? Be like, I'm not getting a submission guy, made it look good, dog. You're all over the place. We're running from him. I'm gonna give it to that dude.
Yeah.
So it's like I would give Fight to Win a lot of credit on that.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching their shows, and it is good to not have it just down to one person's decision. So yeah, sort of best of 3 setup is good. I like that. Last question for you, sir, is tell us something that people would be surprised to know about Jeff Glover.
I used to ride rollerblades when I was a little kid.
Nice.
Now I have a Harley Davidson though.
Cool.
Very good. Who else did that? Someone?
No.
Oh,
Pretty big
Drysdale.
upgrade there.
Robert Drysdale.
What about him?
He ride rollerblades.
To training.
Really? Oh, that makes sense.
Shout
out to Robert.
To training.
Me and Robert did the Glover's Travels. We had the funnest time doing that shit, man. I love Robert Drysdale.
Well, there you go. You're
I don't know. What else can I tell you?
Two-stroke and a four-stroke dirt bike.
I'm learning about dirt bikes. Am I a good boxer, Bo? I'm an all right boxer, right?
If you want to hear that you're a good boxer, sure. I'll say
I don't know. I'm good at video games and just kind of like sitting around and stuff.
Nah, cool.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, that's cool.
That's good.
You've earned that.
Thank you.
He's earned it. He's earned it.
No, that's good. We really we'll finish up then. We again, we really appreciate you giving us the time to give us a bit of insight into the life of Jeff Glover and how you became who you were, and yeah, you're an icon of the sport. So
you're very honest in the podcast. Didn't really stray away from any questions, so we appreciate the honesty. It was really cool.
Yeah, and hopefully next time we're in the States, which once this craziness is over, we'll get to catch up with yourself and Sid, and yeah, have a beer and have a roll.
Absolutely.
And also, yeah, if you're ever coming back to Australia, let me know. I'll help you out with seminars and stuff to get them set up for you and shit. So,
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. I need to get my passport. I'll come have a beer with you guys. You get yours. You come have a beer with me.
yeah, for sure.
I appreciate it. It's really nice talking to you guys, actually, man. This is one of the most enjoyable podcasts and interviews I've ever done.
Oh,
You guys
nice.
asked a lot of really cool questions. You didn't hit me with any like sneaky asshole questions. I appreciate that, man. God bless you guys.
No dramas.
No worries.
Cheers. Man.
Good, bro. Thank you. Do you need to put your sponsor back up again before we finish?
Jocko supplements. Get some.
Is there no SWAT team?
Wake
outside
up
right
at
now?
4:30 in the morning.
Did the SWAT team turn up at your
They're coming in. I'll just give them some of this shit and they'll leave me alone.
All right. Thanks for that, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Good chat.